Welcome to Module 2 of the Safety and Violence Prevention Curriculum, Depression and Suicide, Important Information for Educators. This module will address key changes in student behavior, appearance, and performance that may indicate depression. You will see examples of warning signs, how to intervene, and make appropriate referrals when you suspect students are depressed or have suicidal ideations. Let's talk first about some myths and facts about suicide and depression. The answer is false. Children and adolescents who view suicide as a way to manage their intense emotions are often just looking for a way to make the pain stop, rather than for attention from others. This answer is true. Girls experience depression at higher rates than boys, are 2 to 5 times more likely to have suicidal ideation, that is, a plan to take their lives by suicide, and will attempt suicide more often than their male counterparts. However, boys have a higher rate of completed suicide than girls because they tend to have more lethal means. Unfortunately, the answer to this is false. Many people incorrectly label depression as a feeling based on life events or stressors. Depression is a chemical imbalance that can impact both children and adolescents. It is estimated that 3% of children and 15% of adolescents have clinical depression. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 24-year-olds in Ohio. The number of youths committing suicide has risen 18% since 2001. The answer is true. Students who use and abuse substances are often trying to escape other pain that they are dealing with. Using substances can be a temporary relief from their pain and can serve as a maladaptive coping strategy. Additionally, it can lower inhibitions and life-ending decisions can be made while using substances. Unfortunately, the numbing effects of substances don't last, and the student is left feeling even more hopeless and helpless after using. The answer here is false. If you believe a student may be suicidal, you should not be afraid to engage the student in a conversation about what he or she is feeling or thinking. If a student is thinking about suicide, it is important for adults in the student's life to know this information so that they can help. It may help the student feel that someone is connecting and caring about him or her. You are very unlikely to put suicidal thoughts or ideas into the student's mind. Now that we've discussed some of the common myths about depression and suicide, it's important to know how to actually identify students who may be experiencing depression. Generally, students who become depressed will show changes in their behavior, their appearance, and their performance. It's important to note that characteristics, traits, and behaviors that we discuss may clue us into the fact that something is going on in the student's life. It should be noted that not all students who are depressed will show these behaviors, and not all students who display such characteristics and traits are necessarily depressed. This module should provide you with some additional information to assist you in understanding potential behavioral and mental health issues in a student's life. Changes in student behavior may include mood changes. Students may indicate their depression through irritability or anger rather than sadness, lack of interest or pleasure in activities that are previously enjoyed, or withdrawal from family and friends should also be noted. Finally, the use and abuse of substances is related to student depression. You may notice changes in the student's appearance. For example, noticeable changes in weight gain or weight loss. Changes in sleep should also be noted. Specifically, sleeping much more or much less than usual. Students who are depressed may lack personal hygiene and self-care. Changes in school performance may also be an indicator of something is going on in a student's life. Sudden drops in grades, lack of interest in school activities, skipping school, acting out while at school should also be noted. Students may show frustration with school and school personnel and have difficulty concentrating on tasks. Many students who are depressed will also have thoughts about suicide. In fact, about 60% of students with depression have suicidal ideation at some point. According to the 2005 Youth Risk Behavior Survey, 27% of Ohio teens reported feeling depressed. 18% reported having seriously considered suicide, and 9% reported attempting suicide during the past year. In addition to the signs of depression, you might also notice additional indicators of student suicidal behavior. It's imperative to identify students who may be thinking, writing, or talking openly about suicide. It is important to note that students may come to suicidal behavior differently than adults. Intense emotional events, such as breakups or being ostracized by friends, can be the catalyst for suicidal behavior. Research indicates that some factors are associated with an increased likelihood of student suicide or suicidal attempts. Of specific importance is the increased likelihood of self-identified gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgendered youth to complete suicide. These students often lack an effective support system, and they can feel very isolated and alone. Research also tells us that there are factors that are related to decreased likelihood of student suicide. Think about which of these factors are within your circle of influence. Some of these may even take you back to the 40 developmental assets. While it is important to identify a student who is depressed and/or suicidal, it is equally important to know what to do in the situation. There are ways for you to better understand what a student may be going through by simply talking to the student and showing that you care. Asking specific questions may assist you in recognizing a student may be dealing with depressive or suicidal thoughts. Here are examples of behaviors that are appropriate reasons for concern. If a student seems depressed, ask about how they're feeling. Ask specific questions such as, is there anything that you enjoy? Do you have someone to talk to about your feelings? How long have you been feeling this way? You may notice specific behaviors that concern you. Is the student talking or writing about death or suicide? Has the student been giving away possessions? Has the student made final arrangements? A mental health professional generally determines the level of risk of a student's suicidal behavior once the student has been referred to NetCare. However, some understanding of suicide risk may help you recognize these warning signs, and in communicating with parents, school counselors, and NetCare professionals about these risks. Your awareness of these signs can help you know what to do immediately in seeking help. A lower risk of suicide includes vague suicidal ideation, no specific plans, and a low level of hopelessness. Medium risk includes direct statements about suicide, some plans but still vague, and no availability of supplies. While high risk includes detailed plans with lethal methods, made final arrangements, and suicide seems to be the only alternative. What should you do if a student is at risk? Contact the school's mental health professional, the counselor or social worker. Ensure that the parents are contacted. Provide supervision. Do not leave the student alone. Refer the student to community counseling services and contact NetCare. Remember, there are 3 things that you want to keep in mind when inquiring about suicidal ideation. The acronym SAL can help to do that. Are there specific plans and intent, availability and lethality of means? It is imperative that you know the school's protocol on how to handle students who are suicidal. The Columbus City Schools referral procedures include the following. Treat all levels of suicide ideation as a crisis situation. Notify your building administrator and contact the counselor, school social worker, or school nurse. Notify the parents or guardian and contact NetCare. Besides knowing your support staff within your building and some of the local community resources, you may want to know more. You can find both local and national resources by clicking on the Resources button on this Safety and Violence module. All right, let's try out your skills. Michelle seems very down in the dumps. She's been coming late to your classes and keeps her head down during the entire class. You notice her weight significantly dropping and her withdrawal from peers at school. During lunch, Michelle has been going to the nurse's office with complaints of stomach aches. In one of your classes, this happens.
Okay, class, that's the bell. I'll see you tomorrow. Wait a few minutes after class. I'd like to talk to you.
Okay. I was going to do this assignment, but I got kind of distracted.
Okay, well, don't worry about the assignment right now. I'm concerned about what you wrote on your arm. What did you mean by that?
What are you talking about?
Kill the pain. Michelle, I'm concerned. I'm asking because I care about you.
I don't mean anything by it.
Well, I'm going to give you a minute to think about it.
Well, there's just a lot going on at home, and I just want the pain to stop. I just want it to end.
End how?
I don't know. I just want it to stop. There's just a lot going on at home, and at school no one talks to me anymore, and I don't have any friends. And everything just keeps piling up, and I can't take it anymore.
Have you talked to anyone about this? The school social worker, your counselor, the school nurse, your parents?
I can't talk to anyone about this. If I do, the kids are going to start talking about me again.
Have you felt like this before?
Yeah. My mom was taking me to see a counselor, but now I live with my dad, and my dad doesn't think I should see a counselor.
Educators are not held to confidentiality if a student discloses suicidal thoughts, should act swiftly upon learning of student suicidal thoughts or behaviors, should take seriously student disclosures or threats, and must know the resources in their schools and communities in order to make appropriate referrals. Remember to print all referral procedures and keep them in a convenient place. Teens with alcohol and drug problems are also more at risk for suicidal thinking and behavior. Alcohol and some other drugs have depressive effects on the brain, and these substances can bring on a serious depression. Learn more in our next module, Alcohol and Drug Use, Abuse, and Addiction.